Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Qualitative Research Hub. I'm Dr. Kozabzul Qureshi, and today we are going to talk about analytic memos. What do you mean by analytic memo? A memo is a Latin word which is an abbreviation of memorandum. That means it must be remembered. This term has been used in various fields, such as in law, a memorandum is a record of terms of the transactions or contract, such as a public policy memo, or memorandum of understanding, or you can also say memorandum of agreement or memorandum of association. But in business research methodology, we use it to record or to remember the events, the experiences which we have during conducting the research. There is a great paragraph by Judith Oakley that is about scrutiny of the data offers both empirical certainty and initiative reminders. Insights emerge also from the subconscious and from bodily memories. Never penned on paper, there are serendipitous connections to be made if the writer is open to them. Writing and analysis comprise a movement between the tangible and intangible, between the cerebral and sensual, between the visible and invisible. Interpretation moves from evidence to ideas and in theory, then back again. There can be no set formula, only broad guidelines sensitive to specific cases. This extract is taken from Thinking Through Fieldwork. An analytic memo are somewhat comparable to research journal entries or blogs. Defining analytic memo. Memos are sites of conversation with ourselves about our data. Clark, 2005, page 202. This is a reference, and the reference book I'm using for these slides, you can find this into the description box. The purpose of analytic memos. The purpose of analytic memos writing is to document and reflect on your coding and process and code choices. How the process of inquiry is taking shape, the emergent patterns, categories, and subcategories, themes and concepts in your idea, in your data, all possibly leading towards theory. Here, everything is considered within the context of qualitative case research methods. So obviously, when you're doing qualitative case research methods and you have collected the data in terms of interviews, one-to-one or face-to-face interviews, in-depth interviews, open interviews, closed interviews, whatever data you have collected, first you have to transcribe it into the software or manually, and then reading and while rereading to record or to code the material according to the research question. During that, as a researcher, you go through various experiences. You remember something, some event that X person says something about this specific thing in certain way. You're going to record that. And recording all those experiences, recording all those memos is something like you're documenting and reflecting on your coding process and the code choices. Codes written in the margins of your hard copy data or associated with the data and listed in. Now these memos, now as we know nowadays, there are so many softwares available for doing qualitative research. You can have a manual record of the memos written in a notebook, or you can also use any software to create memos inside it while coding. For example, most of the time I've been using qualitative software for data analysis. That was Nvivo. So you can also use that software to create memos. So virtually every qualitative research methodologist agrees whenever anything related to any significant about the coding or analysis of data comes to mind, stop whatever you're doing and write a memo about it immediately. Feature directions, unanswered questions, frustrations with the analysis, insightful connections, or anything else that is about the research and the researcher are acceptable as a content for the memo. So the purpose of analytic memos is thinking critically about what you're doing, why, confronting and often challenging your own assumptions, and recognizing the extent to which your thoughts, actions, and decisions shape how you research and what you see. The coding and analytic memo. These are intertwined. You cannot separate one from the other. Most of the time, you create memos while coding the material. Coding and analytic memos writings are concurrent qualitative data analytic activities. For there is a reciprocal relationship between the development of the coding systems and the evaluation of understanding a phenomena. The researchers link an analytic memo or a comment or annotation to a specific data or the code. But sometimes aha moments of insight occurs at unexpected and inappropriate time. For example, in the shower, while driving, eating, or lunch, etc., etc. So keep a small paper, notepad, and something to write with on a handheld digital audio recorder nearby all the time for brief jottings or reminders in lieu of computer access. Don't rely on mental notes to self. Sometimes it also happens that really while you're driving to the office or you're doing something else, not the research work, and a thought, you come across with a new thought, an idea that is entirely going to change your research patterns. And that kind of information, whenever it is coming to your mind, whenever you're noticing it, it is better to keep something with you to record it, or to keep it in the memo, or to write it in the notebook. Because most of the time, if you don't do that during the research, you may lose that information after a while, or you may forget about it. Avoid it. Always keep a notebook with you to record the memos, and then if you're using a software, you can transfer these memos into your software. Do not rely on mental notes to your own self.